Hello everyone, my name is Neil. I'm from Swiss Harmony. Thank you very much for coming and listening to my little humble show about electrosmog and electromagnetic fields, high frequencies, and what it can do with your body and your health. So what we will cover today, simply what electrosmog is, what damage it can do to your body and your organism, why we are at risk from it, and then essentially why you're here, what we can actually do about it. Yeah, I will show you some simple steps you can do in your home, and then also some steps that we have available from Swiss Harmony ourselves. So just to start off with, how sure are you that what you know is actually true? I say this because for 1,200 years, people believed that the sun revolved around the earth, that the earth was the center of everything. But then Copernicus comes along and says, no, that's not actually true. It's this way around, that the earth revolves around the sun. And then there are other scientists that then confirmed his theory, and they were convicted and locked up for it, for heresy. And until 1822, it was still illegal to distribute literature that actually showed that the sun was the center of our solar system. Yeah. So having that as a basis, what that we use now is still wrong or is not how we think it is. Yeah. Question, would you brush your teeth with radioactive toothpaste? Probably not. But this is an advert from a Swiss newspaper advertising exactly that. Yeah, it says that every test is overwhelmingly successful. A new breakthrough for tooth hygiene. Toothpaste with, I don't know what the radioactive material is, but here it is again, radioactive toothpaste. And then over the pond, we had radium brand butter. So they were convinced that radiation and radium was fantastic for your health and that everyone needed to eat it. And they put it in pretty much everything, including cosmetics. A more recent example of all of this is asbestos. Put it everywhere. It had fantastic properties. Everyone used asbestos. And now this is how we dispose of it. It's expensive to dispose because no one wants to work with it. And then it's stored underground in special areas, but with a certificate that it is your asbestos. Because if sometime in the future some new research comes out that asbestos is even more harmful than it was, they will come back to you. Yeah. Now, electrosmog is everywhere. You have antennas on top of buildings, antennas on top of schools, in the street. You have, with the new 5G technology coming out, they say that you need to have an antenna, I think, every 20 meters on the road to have the coverage that you need to have the 5G speeds. And then, of course, our children will have it. They want their phones, they want the iPads, they love it, they love to play games on it. So it's permeating throughout our society, and it's only going to get more and more and more. So what actually is electrosmog? Okay, I've shown you pretty pictures of antennas and children sitting on a park bench, but what is actually the term electrosmog? It is the conglomeration of two words, electronic and smog. So everyone knows what smog is, smoke and fog. It's that soup that you get in a city, and then if you think of that anything that is electric or anything that has a magnetic field, anything that has a pulsed high frequency radiation, it may come from your own home, may come from your neighbor, may come from a public installation. That in general, that soup as such, is called electrosmog. Yeah. Before we go on an explanation of how this electrosmog can impact your body, I just want to show you a short video about how a cell, or a video of cells in your body, yeah, of how they function, and I really like the video because it's really pretty as well. Yeah, enjoy. So now you have a little bit of an idea what happens between cells, how many connections there are, how much can actually go wrong between each communication of each cell. Yeah? Do you remember how high that number was? It's 500 quadrillion chemical reactions in your body. It's an astronomical number, which you can't even begin to kind of fathom in currency-wise or anything like that. Yeah. Now, those chemical reactions, they are governed by electrical connections. And these electric connections, they are so fine, so tiny. Yeah? In fact, they are 4 picoamps. That's a 0 with 12 zeros and then a 4. It's tiny. And there is 1 quadrillion of them. Not quite 500 quadrillion, but 1 quadrillion is still quite a lot. If you imagine, if you want to save 1 quadrillion pounds, it would take you 100 years if you put 1 pound in a jar every second. But not just you, 300,000 of you, 400 years, constantly putting a pound in a jar. That's 1 quadrillion. Yeah? And the body does these connections not over 100 years. It does it every single second. So you can imagine what of a delicate ecosystem your body really is. Now, if you think that a mobile phone has 0.2 amps, that's 50 billion times stronger than your own electrical field in your body. You can imagine something 50 billion times stronger impacting your body, what sort of effect that will have on you. Now, it's not just mobile phones. You have cordless home phones. You have mobile phone tires, high voltage lines, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, smart meters, you name it. Anything that has an electrical field or any electrosmog, like we covered earlier, has an influence on your body, if you want it or not. The question is how your body then deals with that influence. In 1993, the Telecom did a report, a literature report, about the non-thermal effects of mobile phone radiation. I'm sure you're very well aware of the thermal effects of mobile radiation. That's the so-called SAR value of a phone. But that is just the heating of tissue that the mobile phone has on you. But the Telecom actually says that it's widely accepted by professional scientists that the non-thermal effects, which are even more detrimental to your health than the thermal effects, influence melatonin synthesis, nerve cells, the calcium ion concentration, blood-brain barrier efficiency, and induce cancer growth by chemicals. And this is by the Telecom. It's a huge company in Germany. I'm sure you've heard of it. Yeah. In 2002, there was an appeal called the Freiburg Appeal by 1,000 doctors, 36,000 signatories, and they appealed to the leaders of this world that electrosmog has the following symptoms or can cause the following things. I'm sure some of you might recognize some of these symptoms, but you may have never thought to attribute them to electrosmog or the influence of such. The Freiburg Appeal was refreshed in 2015 by even more signatories from even more countries around the world. So this is not something that is just some person cooked up in his living room. This is by scientists kind of confirmed, and they're warning about it, that this is something that we should take care of, and this is something that we should really kind of listen to. And it wasn't just the Freiburg Appeal. I mean, there are plenty of other warnings that were international from around the globe that kind of followed the Freiburg Appeal, that just want to raise the awareness of people of what is actually going on here. But if we go back to the symptoms, the Techniker Krankenkasse in Germany, which is one of the largest insurers, health insurers in Germany, did a survey in 2009, and they surveyed what people suffer from most. Yeah? I'm highlighting sleep here because it is one of the things that they said that they suffered from. So more than half of the people that were tested or asked suffer from muscle spasms or back pain. And 20%, so 1 in 5 Germans suffer from sleep disorders. 1 in 5, that's so many, yeah? So it's like sleep disorders or not sleeping well, one of the most important aspects of our life, where the body regenerates, where the body rests. If that's not sorted out, and if that doesn't work well, then how is the body supposed to regenerate? How's the body supposed to stay healthy? I'm sure most of you, if not every one of you, has heard of melatonin. It is a sleep hormone. It is a hormone that regulates your sleep pattern and is one of the best antioxidants that the body can produce. Melatonin is reduced by up to 40% of the original values by electrosmog. And that can cause sleep disorders, oxidating stress, weakened immune system. It hinders the suppression of cancer growth and heightens the flow of calcium into the cells. So calcification of your body, calcification of your cells, and the oxidating stress is a massive one, because then you cannot actually detox properly anymore. The body can obviously deal with a certain level of stresses, yeah? But if you imagine your body being a rain butt, so where you collect rainwater during the rainy season, then use that to water your garden when there's no rain. You have nutrition, smoking, alcohol, your job, stressful divorce, and also electrosmog going into your personal rain butt. But you don't really know when your rain butt is full. You only know it when it overflows. So if we go back to the water rain butt, and it's too tall for you to look into, you also only know when it's overflowed, when it actually overflows. And that overflowing of a rain butt is those symptoms that you then see, like the symptoms we showed earlier in an earlier slide. And we believe that electrosmog is that 40% of it. Yeah? And if you could remove those 40% of electrosmog, which is easily done, then your rain butt is only filled to 60%. Your body then can deal with other stresses more easily. Most of your other symptoms may reduce as well, because your body can now deal with other stressors easier and can heal itself better. Plus, your melatonin production will return to normal. You can, the antioxidant can work properly, and you generally will have a healthier state. So just a couple of slides from the video, because we're now going back to a similar video to show you how the cells experience electrosmog. Yeah. So as I said, they communicate with electrical impulses, so they are attuned to electrical impulses already, because they're constantly receiving them from the brain and from the neural net in your body. And just as a reminder, they act with 4 picoamps, that minute current, and 1 trillion of those connections. Quick video to show you how the cells experience electrosmog. All of these videos are from the Gregorial Educational Production. They do fantastic videos. I really love all of them. So that noise you might have recognized from when you put your mobile phone too close to a speaker, for instance. So that is the actual sound the high frequencies make when they communicate with each other, when all the peripherals talk, essentially. So, question, what can be done? I've told you what the problem is. I've told you how the body deals with it. What can actually be done about it? There are some very simple steps you can do that anyone can do in your home to minimize your exposure. One is remove cordless home phones. Use headphones while speaking on a mobile phone. There are even air tubes now so that you have absolutely no electrical connections near your head. Remove microwave ovens. Disconnect any wireless technology, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. Replace fluorescent lights with LEDs. Fluorescent lights have a very high frequency flash, which the eye, or which you cannot consciously pick up, but which your body does notice. That's why in office buildings back in the day, they always had fluorescent lights, and people got ill. They had low energy levels, and when they got rid of those, they actually improved. The health improved, and the work environment improved. Unplug all unused electrical equipment, especially in the bedroom. Again, because when you sleep, you want your body to be as least stressed as possible so that you produce most melatonin so your body can recuperate the most. Only do the absolute necessary medical scans. So don't be like, okay, oh no, I fancy an X-ray today, let's go for an X-ray, or I fancy a radiology, or no, only do that if it's really, really necessary. Reduce the amount of metal around you. So metal, there's a reason why antennas are made from metal. They make very good antennas. So if you wear a lot of metal, steel or silver or gold or wherever it is, it acts like an antenna on your body. So if you are sensitive, it is imperative really for you to reduce the amount of metal around you. Don't sleep on a metal bed, for instance, because that is like sleeping on an antenna. And just try to reduce the exposure to it as much as you can. Or a bit more drastic, move to a place without EMFs or HFs, but that's quite a big step. And then there's the solution that we have created from Swiss Harmony, which I will go through now. I'm going to go to our friend Einstein, who is said to have stated that after thorough research and penetrating deeper and deeper into matter, one must ultimately recognize that all matter basically consists of two components, and that's information and energy. Information without energy is like a CD without a CD player. Energy without information is like a CD player without a CD. One is useless without the other, and vice versa. Energy, information, and together, that's where the here and now is. That's where, once that works together, that's where the magic happens as such. And that's the same principle that we base upon. With our technology, we provide the information, and your body provides the energy to it. But we'll get back to that in a sec. So what information do we actually put onto our devices? Yeah? We wanted to find a frequency set or an information which we know does not harm your body. So we thought, about 100 years ago, when there wasn't any of this electrosmog and any of this radiation, what was the most prevalent frequency out there? And that was undoubtedly visible light. And visible light, we know, doesn't harm the body. So we took that information of the visible light, which can be described as being nature, because it is what nature thrives upon. Without sunlight, forests wouldn't exist. All life on this planet wouldn't exist. And we condense that into our devices. And we were able to engrave that into our devices, so that our devices now are the pure information of nature as such. The information which we then pass on to the energy system, which is your body. Now, why is that even necessary? Why can we just not be like, okay, I know this now, I'm going to tell my body no more, don't be influenced by electrosmog. But the thing is that the body is an organic being which likes to be part of the status quo. It likes to fit in. It's a group organism. So as I said, the 50 billion times stronger electric fields around you, the body thinks, okay, it's 50 billion times stronger, that must be the status quo. And so it starts latching onto that and resonating with that, and that's when you get all these health problems. So, okay, before we go there, I want to show an example of why that happens, yeah? This is a video coming up, it's a video of 32 metronomes, which get started all at a different time. And they are on a table which can swing freely. And you can see that all the metronomes do something which you wouldn't really expect them to do. But that is because they are on the same table which can freely swing. And so they are on a table which is of a higher order, which connects all of them. Yeah? Right. So you can see they're all synchronized. And that's because they are on that one table which connects all of them. And your body is the same. It wants to gravitate towards the general status quo around it and wants to fit in. What then happens when we introduce our information is that the body, being an intelligent being, recognizes it as being the nature that it actually craves, and recognize, oh, hold on, the status quo, which I thought was the status quo, wasn't actually the status quo. This is what I want. And then it starts to resonate with that frequency. And once it does that, it then can effectively ignore any other frequencies that it comes in contact with. And it does that through resonance. And this is the next video is a fantastic example of it by MIT in America with tuning forks and resonance. And I love this one as well. So he changed the pitch of the left tuning fork by attaching a weight, changing the frequency that that tuning fork resonates with. And that's what we essentially do to your body. We teach the body to only resonate with one frequency, so that any other frequency cannot resonate with you anymore, or the body can't resonate with that frequency, and hence can effectively ignore it. Yeah? With our devices, we don't shield. The whole process is called harmonization. And that's a very important distinction, because if you shield, then anything that uses those electric fields won't work anymore. If you shielded a mobile phone, you wouldn't be able to use it. If you shielded your entire house, you wouldn't have reception in your home. So once the harmonization is complete, you will still be able to measure the electrosmog. And why is that? The cassette here is a physical entity. Yeah? The content of the cassette is music. Let's say Vivaldi. Yeah? If now I change the content of that cassette to heavy metal, for instance, the physical appearance of that cassette won't have changed. But the information on that cassette is completely different. Now you might ask, why are some people sensitive to electrosmog? Some people can't use mobile phones and some can. Again, with the same example, deaf people can't hear music. So only people that can hear the difference between Vivaldi and heavy metal, as that same example, only people that are electrosensitive will be able to sense if we have put on that harmonic information, that harmonic frequency onto the electrical grid. And people that will have known that they are electrosensitive, they will instantly feel a difference. We've had people jump for joy and cry because they didn't realize how much electrosmog had actually impacted their life, and how they thought they were at 100% energy, and they were like, yeah, I'm really healthy. But once they felt this, they were like, oh, you know what? Actually, I was only at 60%, maybe 70%. But what's important is that the measurable form of the cassette does not change. Yeah? Now, I've told you, people that are sensitive will know. Now, what if you are not sensitive? There won't be a measurable or a distinguishable thing for you to be like, okay, this really works for me. So, does Swiss Harmony really work? This is a photograph of a lady that we did in Switzerland in another trade show, an aura photography. And I'm not going to say I'm an expert in aura photography at all. So I'm just saying what the aura photographer said. This is the picture before a harmonization. We then gave her one of our products and asked her to come back 3 hours later. And that was in the picture of the aura photograph afterward. And we are told that the right one is a much better one than the left one, because it's cleaner, it's got more colors. If you are aura photography experts, then I'm sure you'd know more about that than I do. This is a test we did by the Institute of Bioresonance Phenomena. It is a Aschoff-Reitz test. So it tests the skin resistance on certain points on your hand. And through that, it knows if the body is stressed or not. So the normal skin resistance of a healthy body is about 40 ohms. And in a stressed situation, the resistance of the body increases. So the first test in blue is in a rested state, without any stressor, without any of our products. The orange line is with a stressor, which I think was a mobile phone. They had a phone conversation. And then the gray line is with the phone conversation, but with our device on the phone and a personal device as well. So you can see that the skin resistance, or the stress of the body, is actually lower with the harmonized stressor than without a stressor and relaxed. And it's pretty much near the 40 ohms, so it's near the optimum state. Here's another test which we did. It was a GDV camera test. So you can see that the stress has reduced, the energy has increased, the balance has increased, and the organ balancing has increased as well. So what is part of a biohome harmonization? That's our most wholesome and holistic solution that we have. Yeah? We harmonize the electric field. It's a climate tuner which goes on your main power cable or fuse box or meter. And that then puts that harmonic information which I talked about earlier onto your electric field in your home. You have the harmonization of the water, which deletes any harmful information in the water. If you have a chlorine taste or smell in the water, that dissipates immediately. Also, if you have lime scale, that will soften as well and make the water taste much, much nicer. And then the harmonization of mobile phone, cordless phones, and tablet computers is included in that as well. That's what I just said. The indoor climate changes with the biotuner for the electrics. So the negative ion distribution changes. The ants will also disappear if you have problems with ants, because they are radiation seekers. They love radiation. Cats are also radiation seekers. That's why sometimes you might find your cat sitting on the wireless router or on your laptop or things like that. Dogs are exactly the opposite. They are radiation avoiders. So if your cat always loves to sleep in a certain spot on your sofa, try to avoid that as much, and then try to sleep there where your dog loves to sleep as well. The negative ion distribution is quite a biggie, because the negative ions are the ones that attach to dust particles in the air and to any particles that can cause asthma attacks and things like that. And you can imagine it in a room in your apartment. The negative positive ion distribution begins just above your head. So the negative ions kind of finish just above your head, and then you're standing in a positive ion field. Once the harmonization has been made, that kind of flips around. So the positive field starts around your knee height, and then your general living time you spend in a negative ion field. So you're in a cleaner, breathable, more cleaner air. Things that you may notice after harmonization are improved indoor climate, reduced dust settlement because of the negative ions, accelerated odor dissolution because the odor in the air gets bound by the negative ions, deepened tranquility, increased well-being, reduction of ants and mosquitoes because they are radiation seekers, healthy food in the fridge. I once did a test. To be honest, I forgot about some kiwis I had in the fridge. I forgot them for about 3 months. And then I was like, okay, they're still edible. They're still quite nice. They didn't rot. They didn't dry out. I was like, okay, I want to see how long I can leave them in there before they actually turn. And they only turned because my landlord at the time didn't realize what I was doing and removed the harmonization device, and then they turned. But it was about 6 months that they were in my fridge past their best before date, or past their sell-by date, and they were still edible. You have improved sleep, improved concentration, reduced brain fog. Sorry. So these are all the things that you may notice once the harmonization has been made in your home. All of the biotuners do not need any maintenance. Once they're installed, they can stay there, and they have an unlimited lifespan. And if you move into a different house, you can take them with you. If you move into a bigger house, you can upgrade them as well. If you would like, we do come to your house to measure the amount of electric smog you have in there. We give consultations in the comforts of your home, completely free of charge. Because our main, okay, I've shown the devices we do, I've shown you what we can do, but our main concern is to show people the effects of electrosmog and inform people about it. That's our main concern and our main mission in all of this, is to increase the awareness of what is happening. That is why, as well, for the BioHome, we have a 4-month money-back guarantee. Because if you install it and you're like, okay, I understand the problem, let's go with your solution. But if your problem wasn't because of electrosmog, or you're like, okay, I don't feel any difference, this isn't for me, why should we keep your money? We haven't helped you. That's why we have this money-back guarantee. And then we have products for on the go as well. We have the body card, rings, bracelets, a car tuner, which goes in your car, which has also been independently verified to reduce emissions and save fuel. Saves around 5%, so it kind of pays for itself, and you're doing something for the environment. And then we have another example, the phone card for cordless home phones and things. We have many other products as well. We have a stand just across from the cafe, which we've which shows some of the products in a glass case. And that's it. Thank you very much for coming. If you have any more questions, thank you. Very kind. We have a stand there. I'll be there, and we're more than happy to continue to chat if you have any questions or if you want to have a look at the products. Yeah. Thank you for coming.